Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. I am your own personal sales maven here to offer you tips and strategies and techniques to master your sales conversations. Today's episode, we're going to focus on building a prospecting list. I know the idea of prospecting scares most people, especially anybody who does not consider themselves a traditional salesperson. So, I'm going to give you some really easy ways to prospect today and hopefully get you started so that you can continue to build your business, bring in new clients, see what is possible for you. So, prospecting is one of those things that I think most of us know it's critical to our success. But when you get busy, when you've got a full schedule or full client load, it's the thing that often falls to the bottom of the barrel, like the thing you do last. Even if you're not that busy, and even if you don't have a full client load, it's pretty common for people when I get to work with them, especially when they hire me specifically because they need some help doing some business development. They will say, well, I block out big chunks of time in my schedule, but I actually don't ever prospect. Like I find a million other things to do instead. So, if that's you, I get it. I honor where you are. I know it can be difficult, but I want to chat through a few ways that are pretty light lifts, pretty easy prospecting, and ways to bring some new business in the door for you. So, the upside is that at the end of the month or 2 months or 3 months of kind of following these strategies that we're going to talk about today, you will likely have some new business coming in the door. The downside of continuing to ignore prospecting and not do anything is that you may at some point get to a place where your existing client load has kind of gotten all they need from you. They've moved on, and now you find yourself going like, uh, where are all the clients? I need to bring some revenue into my business. And you often will then start making some decisions about taking on business or taking on projects or doing things that don't really light you up, right? Like making concessions because there isn't business coming in. So, you know, we want to make sure there's some consistent business coming in so that you can do the things that you're really good at. You can do the things that you love. And it involves just a little bit of prospecting and a little bit of time and commitment on your part. So, we're going to get into some strategies and building your prospecting list because this is kind of one of the first steps, right? Like, one thing when people hire me to help them do some business development, the thing that we work on first is developing their prospecting list. Because if you don't know who to reach out to and the message to reach out to them with, it's super easy to find other things to do. It's super easy to not actually prospect. And then you get like a month has gone by, and then pretty soon 6 months have gone by, and a year's gone by, and you haven't actually brought in new clients. So, let's talk about building that list because that's that first step to get you started. Now, I recently put together a new training. It's called Business Building Key Prospecting Strategies. And in this training, I actually give 5 ways to build a prospecting list. And I also give 8 scripts, 8 prospecting scripts. So they're already written and done for you. I'm not going to go through all of that today because I have a training on it and you can get access to it. The way to get access, in case you're like, I need that in my life, is there's 2 ways actually. You can join the Sales Maven Society. That's my group coaching program. So you get access to my training content, you get access to me in live calls, and you get access to an incredible group of people. You've probably heard about some of them on the podcast if you've listened to a couple episodes. And then I also dropped the same training in the Sales Maven Studio. Now, the studio is different than the society. The studio is my resource hub. That's a kind of like do it yourself approach to sales. There's tons of training content in there. There's tons of scripts in there. All these scripts actually live in there. This training in particular lives in there. And it's for the person who doesn't necessarily want the group coaching component. They don't necessarily need access live coaching from me. They just want to have scripts at their fingertips and some training when they need it. So those are the two differentiations. But this training, business building, key prospecting strategies, it lives in both of my training centers for the Sales Maven Society and the Sales Maven Studio. I mentioned that in this training, I have a list of five kind of key areas to build a prospecting list, like to pull from to build a pretty robust list. Today, we're going to go through the first two. And the reason I'm giving you the first two is because it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the ones that these two strategies, if you follow these two first and you're consistent about it, you will likely have some new business pretty quickly coming in the door. They're also the two easiest ones to do. So they're not as scary. And that's why I'm going to share them on the podcast today, just to get you started in building your list. Okay. So, number one on my how to build a prospecting list is to create a list of past clients. Pretty easy, right? You know who your past clients are, and start to make a list. Now, on this list, you're also going to put what did that person or that account, what did they purchase from you? Okay, so that's the first part of building this list. Number one strategy, going back to past clients. And I hope you've heard this before, but the easiest business to earn is repeat business. It's also the least expensive business, new business to bring in. And it increases your lifetime value. You deliver huge value to your clients when they have additional ways they can work with you. So when you look at this list, who's on it? What did they purchase from you? The next step is to ask yourself, what is a complementary offering that you have that would really support them in the work that you've done so far, or it'll get them to whatever that next level is. So if you put down on this list, like what are complementary offers or products or services that they haven't yet purchased. And the other thing you might add to that list when I'm talking about like what else could they buy from you is what do you now have in your lineup that maybe you didn't have when they were working with you? Because chances are your business has evolved. So you probably have new offerings and they may not even be aware of them. So let's write down what are some potential ideas, offers that may make sense to put back in front of these past clients. Now, once you have this part of the list ready to go, you're ready to start reaching out. So now it's crafting the message, the reach out message. Now, if you need some help with that, this is where that training I mentioned, the business building key prospecting strategies comes into place. In there, there's 8 scripts for prospecting, and there's definitely some scripts of reaching out to past clients. So if you want some help with that, there's a way to get it. I'm not going to give you the exact script today because it needs to be somewhat tailored, and it would be helpful for you to have the training if you're wanting to use my script specifically. But the idea is reach out to them in a personalized message. Ask how they are, what's changed, what's new with them, and then let them know that you have some ideas for them, some ways that you could continue to support them, and ask them if they'd be interested in hearing about the ideas. And then give them the opportunity to schedule a time for you guys to chat. And then when you get on the call, you can find out a little bit more about what they've been up to, what are their struggles right now, what could they use some support on, and then you could position whatever that new complementary offer is, or whatever that thing that is just going to enhance what they've already got from you in the past, right? Sometimes it's like letting them repeat something they've been through with you. Like never be afraid of asking or allowing past clients to repeat a program or a course or something like that with you. There's always opportunity. I know I worked with somebody, a client not too long ago, and I was encouraging her to invite past clients to go back through her program. And she was like, at first she was kind of so confused by this. She's like, why would they ever go back through my program? They've already been through it. And I was like, well, some of us need multiple times to learn things. So give them the opportunity to go back through and see what happens. Which she did. And she came back and she's like, wow, she was shocked at how many people actually was very interested in this offer. So what could you offer to your past clients that would make sense? It needs to make business sense for you, needs to make sense for them, but let's start there for prospecting. There's like, when I talk about low hanging fruit, this is like as low as it can get. Like you barely even have to reach up to pick it. It's right there, ready to be picked. It's ripe. It's good to go. Because they already understand the value of what you bring, right? They've already received value. They already understand like making an investment in your products or your service pays off for them. So we want low risk investments. It's nice to know that we can go back to people that we've hired in the past or work with in the past, and they can continue to support us in some way, right? Like I have worked on and off with similar, like same coaches multiple times in the 11 years that I've had my business. I go back to certain coaches again and again. Now, ones I didn't have a great experience with, like that's a one and done. But ones I had good experience with, one coach in particular, I can say I've probably hired this person five, at least 5 or 6 different times and done different things, different offers that this person has put in front of me, probably actually more than 6 now that I think about this, all since 2018. So I mean, it's a good span of time, but when you think about like, I'm a great repeat buyer for this person, they should continue to put offers in front of me because I understand the value of the investment, right? And you have clients, past clients right now that feel that way about you. And if you're not putting offers back in front of them, then you're you're missing out on continuing to work with these awesome people, and they're missing out on what's possible of working with you. So let's get some offers out to past clients. That's the number one way. The second one on the list for building your prospecting list is look at who are your non-buying but most engaged people on your email list, on social media. Who are these people? Because you have engaged non-clients. You have engaged people who've been following you for a while. They've interacted with your content, and they might just need a little bit of a like incentive or a little like carrot to kind of take that next step with you. So again, this is pretty low hanging fruit because they've already expressed interest. They're opening your emails, they're reading your emails. Again, they're, commenting on the things that you're posting on social. They're showing up to any kind of a free thing that you offer. Like, you know who those people are. You should be able to hopefully identify them. Depending on what kind of email service you use, you should be able to identify them in some way. Who are your people that are consistently opening? And then let's put some kind of an offer in front of them. Now, the offer could be a paid offer for sure. It could also be just an offer to get on a very quick, could be a 15-minute call with you to ask you a question. One of my favorite coaches of all time always says, most people are one question away from hiring you. And then my add to this is, your job is to give them the opportunity to ask that question. Like, make it so easy. So again, whether you're going back to these engaged non-clients and you're putting some kind of an incentive or a paid offer in front of them, could be a first time, like dip your toe in the water offer, like here's some kind of big discount or a coupon code or, a gift certificate or whatever. Or it could just be let's have a quick, like, Q&A session, a private Q&A session for your benefit. Ask me any question, right? Whatever that is. Again, I have a script in the training for that. If you need some help on how to craft that message, or of course, you and I could work together personally, one-on-one to craft your specific scripts. But let's go back to these people that are showing interest, and let's see if we can like dangle a carrot and entice them to take the next step. Because once they take that first step, they're much more likely to take another and then another and then another, as long as you're putting really good quality offers in front of them that are interesting and relevant to what it is that they're wanting to accomplish or solve, have a problem they're wanting to solve. And this is how you start prospecting. If you will do these two things, build this list within these two categories, past clients, engaged non-clients, and actually do reach outs on a regular basis to these two groups, chances are you will fill up your pipeline. Now, you might go like, done it, Nikki. I need some more ideas. So I have 3 more ideas in this training. You're welcome to come and, take advantage of it in one of the groups, whether it's the Sales Maven Society or the studio, get access to the rest of it with the scripts. But let's start with these 2 and see what's possible for you. Clients, when they do this and they start this process and they follow these 2 categories, they'll come back and be like, oh, I just signed up 3 new clients, or, oh, I just got a new client, or, oh, a client that I used to work with has come back and is now interested in doing this next part of business. And it's not that they don't need you, but oftentimes they won't think of you until you're right in front of them again. So this is why these reach outs are so critical to your success. All right, I hope this gets you started down the path and see what's possible for you from a prospecting standpoint of bringing some new business in the door. Low-hanging fruit first, always revenue generating activities to build that business and see what's possible. I am wishing you continued success in all you're doing. Thank you so much for showing up, for continuing to listen to the podcast, for continuing to share the podcast with the people who you know and love that would benefit from the podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. All right. Have a great rest of your day.